Hi there, this is Mckenna Canty. I'm a senior at UMass Amherst and an intern with the New Music Alliance, a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping the careers of Western New England artists who write original music. You're about to hear my interview with singer-songwriter Stephen Desaulniers, who just released his first solo album under the name Invisible Runner and plays bass with the Ray Mason Band and Scud Mountain Boys. Hi there, Stephen. Thank you so much for talking to me today.
So I was wondering if you could describe the process of writing your song Circle Tree, because the listeners to the Radio Music Hour just heard that song.
Right. I guess, I don't really necessarily, I think, have a process that I follow from song to song. It's the same every time. It's a little bit different every time.
Mm-hmm.
That song's a little, it's older. This new album, Invisible Runner, is sort of a collection of songs I've written over the past 25, 30 years. I've never really never really recorded my stuff. I've always been in other bands recording other people's music. So Circle Tree's an old song, and it was back at the time when I was getting into country music, so specifically sort of older country music, oldie-timey they call it sometimes, like the Carter Family and bands like that. And although this song obviously doesn't sound like an oldie-timey country song, the themes inside are sort of straight out of that. In a lot of older country songs, a big theme is your mom, and they just sing about like, oh my, what am I going to do when my mom passes, or
yes, yeah,
my family passes, or when it's going to be so great to die and go to heaven.
Yeah,
because then I'll see my family and my mom. So that's pretty much it sort of came from that spot lyrically. And thematically. So it's just my sort of like rumination on what's going to happen when you go, or what what's going to happen if I go first.
Yeah, that's really cool. And also, congrats on your debut solo album.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to make.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I was kind of wondering, what is it like creating a solo album versus recording? I know you've done a lot of recordings for your other bands as well. So.
Well, yeah, it's sort of night and day, where you're, as opposed to being in a room with, say, like the song, when somebody else is the songwriter and you're in a band even that collaborates a lot, other people are always sort of chiming in. It depends on the situation. So when you're for this, it was, for a lot of the time, it was just me and my producer, Joel Stretzel, who's in a band called Killswitch Engage, and it was just he and I in the studio, and he just turned to me and said, like, what do you think? And be like, oh, every decision is mine.
Yeah,
I mean, if I don't, that said, so that's a weird position to be in, where everybody's sort of turning to you and saying, like, well, it's your record. At the same time, I knew I didn't really want it to be. It really turned out to be much more a complimentary process between Joel and I, and he had a lot of great ideas. It's really our record. I kind of consider him a definitely not so unofficial member of Invisible Runner, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that getting at the end of it, you want to have a lot of different creative people on the record in the studio with you, and I was lucky enough to have that. And you sort of set up just a vibe in the studio where everybody's just welcome to contribute ideas and parts. But at the end of the day, it's you picking, deciding if you're going to have that track or this track, or if you're going to redo that vocal, or etc. So that's different for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I listened to some of the songs. They were all really cool. Like, I definitely heard like that really country song, like Walking Tall. That was such a country song.
Yeah, that's definitely about as country a song as there is on the record. It's all over the place. In terms of styles, I guess. There's some really quiet acoustic singer-songwriter stuff, and then there's some big, I guess, like alt.
Yeah.
Left of the dial sort of stuff, like the second to last song there, Strawberry Brown, and sort of big rockers, and the one you just mentioned, Walking Tall, is just that country rave up sort of a thing.
In Strawberry Brown, I love how it kind of starts. It kind of sounded like a lullaby at first, and then it like kind of went into rock. I really liked that. It was cool.
Yeah. I had this little toy xylophone, and I just sort of picked that out. I had that melody in my head. Well, I guess it's a counterpoint. I don't even know what it is. But that was always part of the song, and I just was like, I just kind of trying to pick it out one day on really a child's xylophone, and I was like, that'd be kind of unique and very childlike and innocent intro to this song about this guy fantasizing about terrible things. It's not really it's a love story, but sort of a sick kind of love.
Yeah, it was such a cool one.
You're listening to an interview with musician Stephen Desaulniers.
Do you have a song you enjoy playing the most out of all of them on the album, or if you've gotten to play them like fully?
Well, you mean play live?
Yeah, I know it's kind of different with COVID right now, so I didn't know if you play them through or.
Releasing an album during this time was definitely different. That's for sure, because there are no live shows and you can't get together and play them with other people. But when I'm sitting around the house, I guess I like So High. Is a fun one to play by yourself. It's just kind of slow and delicate, and I also like Washing Day. Some of the quieter ones. Yeah. Because I'm not really hanging around the house bashing out the loud ones. The ones that need drums. Right.
Makes
sense. Those I like. I tend to play those most, when I'm just hanging around.
Awesome. And then I know you're the bassist for the Scud Mountain Boys and the Ray Mason Band. That's correct, right?
Yeah. Joe Pernice and I sort of co-founded the Scud Mountain Boys back in the early '90s, and we're still playing occasionally. We have put out an album a few years ago, and when we can, we get together. We're just sort of scattered all over the country.
Yeah.
But the main band I play with is definitely with Ray Mason and Tom Shea and Frank Marsh. We've been playing together for I think I've been in the band almost 30 years.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
I know. Yeah, it's crazy. It's very weird to think about.
Did you get into music like playing bass, or did you start singing, or was there any like instrument that kind of started your interest in music?
No, it was singing. Definitely. I went to a little local, church parochial school, and they had a heavy emphasis on music there. And I always loved it. And my parents loved music, and I was always just be listening to their stereo and singing. It's the singing that really always got me, and sort of still does, the lyrics and the singing. And I really just learned an instrument. So I could write and be in a band.
Yeah.
That came second. Like I love playing bass. And I enjoy playing guitar, though. I'm nothing to write home about, but I really just like singing the most, I think.
Yeah, that's awesome. And do you have any favorite like memories or gigs that stand out to you, kind of playing around Western Mass?
Yeah. Well, you mean Western Mass specifically? Let me see.
Or like wherever. Honestly, it doesn't have to be Western Mass.
I was just starting in the Ray Mason Band, and they were my favorite band. I mean, I would go see them all the time. They were my favorite band. And they were a band, for a while before I got in it. And their bass player was named Jerry Ellis, who's sadly passed, but he was like my hero. So then when Jerry couldn't do the gig anymore and Ray asked me, I was like, oh my God, this is huge shoes to fill.
Yeah.
And Ray, but I finally said yes, which was, maybe the best decision of my life. And Ray, at that point, we were playing like 3 or 4 shows a week, and all over the place, and all sorts of different kinds of shows. So we'd be playing in this really divey bar at one point, and then we'd be in a nice hall. And that just so happened to be my first week in the Ray Mason Band. We played this. I can't even remember the name of the club out in Pittsfield. I think it was maybe called La Cocina. It was up this flight of stairs, and it was just this tiny little place, and really dark and smoky and cool. But the next night or that weekend, my second gig with the Ray Mason Band, we opened up for NRBQ. And I was just like, this is very weird. This is very strange. So that NRBQ gig, I guess, was very memorable, because they're heroes of ours, and just to be on the same stage with them was something else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, those are all of the questions I have for you. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed getting to talk to you.
It was my pleasure, Mckenna.
Well, take care, Stephen. Have a good one. Thank you.
You too.
You just heard an interview with Western New England singer, songwriter, and bassist Stephen Desaulniers. This is Mckenna Canty signing off for the New Music Alliance, a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping the careers of Western New England artists who write original music.